Welcome back to the Living Higher series. This week's topic is using the light of Chanukah to overcome the darkness in our lives. We all know that on Chanukah we're celebrating the light of the menorah, the oil having lasted for 8 days, as well as the victory of the Yidden over the Yavanim, the victory of the Yidden over the Greeks. But what is Yavan? Who are the Greeks in the deeper sense of the word? So the Medrash in Parashas Bereshis tells us that in the pasuk when it says v'choshech and darkness, v'choshech ze malchus Yavan, the darkness, this is referring to the malchus of Yavan, to the kingdom of the Greek kingdom. Why? Because they darkened the eyes of the Bnei Yisrael with their gzeres. They darkened the eyes of the Bnei Yisrael with their decrees. Choshech and Yavanim, the darkness, and the Greeks are one and the same. You know, it's no coincidence that the illumination of Shabbos Chanukah comes out in Parashas Miketz. The first Zohar on the Parasha right away tells us that what does Miketz mean? Kates Sam L'choshech, that Hashem puts an end to the darkness. That this week Parashas Miketz is when Hashem puts an end to the darkness. You know, we all have in our lives our fight against Yavan, our fight against the choshech, our fight against the darkness. And sometimes we could feel, just like the Yidden felt back then, like we say in the Al Anisim, that Misarti Geburim B'yad Chalashim, the strong into the hands of the weak. We could feel that we're not strong enough. We're not strong enough to overcome our darkness. We're not strong enough to overcome our challenges in whatever form our challenges are. Rabim B'yad Ma'atim, many in the hands of the few. We can feel also that it's too much. There's too much against us. There's too many obstacles. We're too small. We cannot possibly overcome. Tamei b'yad harem. We don't have that purity. We don't have that purity. We can't get to where we want to get. Rav Tzaddik HaKohen in Pri Tzaddik on the second piece on Chanukah, he says straight up that Tarim b'yad tameim is talking about the klipa of Tumah, the klipa of Taiva, that we're trying to overcome this Taiva. So what do we do? What do we do when we feel that the odds are against us and we just can't possibly overcome whatever our struggles are, whatever the darkness in our life is? It just feels like too much. We have to remember what happened when the Yidden were facing the Yavanim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu delivered the Yavanim into their hands. You know, I once heard from Eli Bir, not the United Atzal Eli Bir, but V'yu Rachamecha Eli Bir. He said this over at Malava Malka. It says that David HaMelech in Tehillim in Parak Mem, David HaMelech says, Kaveh kivisi Hashem, I hope to Hashem, Vayet Elai, and Hashem turned towards me, Vayishma Shavasi, and He heard my cries, Vayaleni bibar sha'on, and He lifted me out of this pit of raging waters, Mithit hayavein, from this slimy mud, V'yokim asel ragli, and He put my feet back on firm rock. I was able to regain my footing. David HaMelech is telling us that he hoped to Hashem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu rescued him from Mitit HaYavin, from the slimy mud. Eli Bir said that Yavin could also be read as Yavan, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could rescue us from the dirt, from the slime of Yavan, from the darkness in our lives, and help us regain our footing. In fact, Rabbeinu Bechaya, on that pasuk that we mentioned in the beginning of Bereshis, Rabbeinu Bechaya says V'yavdol elikim bein or uvein hachoshech, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated between the light and the darkness. What does ar mean? What is light? Darkness, we said darkness is Yavan. Choshech is Yavan. What is ar? What is light? Says Rabbeinu Bechaya, ar is talking about the Yidden. Why is the light referring to the Yidden? He says, because the Yidden anticipate a Yeshua from Hashem. A Yid can anticipate HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to help. And that is the light that illuminates the darkness. We have to realize that even if there's so much darkness in our lives, it seems there's so much, a little bit of light, grasping onto a little bit of light, that can dispel so much darkness. But how do we grab onto that light? How do we grab onto that light that we want to grab onto? It's Kaveh Kivisi Hashem. It's by hoping and turning towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbeinu Bechaya says the reason, what is the R? The R is this ability to rely on Hashem helping us out. And if we do that, if we're Kaveh Kivisi Hashem, if we turn towards Hashem and we turn with a real hope, and a real anticipation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to help us out, then we'll have in our lives, in our darkness, we'll have the Misarta Giborim B'Yachalosh, this darkness that seems so powerful that we can't overcome, we'll be able to overcome. The Rabbim Biyad Ma'atim, there's so much out there, we seem so insignificant compared to our struggles, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu will deliver the Rabbim Biyad Ma'atim, the many into the few, and the Tamei Biyad Tahirim. We'll be able to get to that place of purity where we want to get. But how? Kaveh Kivisi Hashem. We got to turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu into our lives. And we have to realize the Ma'at Min Ha'ar. Let's try to live a little higher this Chanukah. When we light the menorah, Ma'at Min Ha'ar, this little bit of light, we have to have in mind that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're turning to you. In our battles, against our Yavan, against our Choshech and our lives, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're turning to you for the issue. We're turning for you for the help and the deliverance that we need by Yom Mehem, just like we had it in those days. Bazman Hazeh, right now, today, in our times, we can have that Yeshua, that salvation as well.